Howdy, y'all. I'm Laurelyn.
And I'm Liliana.
Today is our third day in Austin at Texas 4-H Congress, and we've got the news for you.
Last night, the lobbyists held a reception where they discussed potential bills they support.
Networking was the theme of the night.
As part of an ongoing exchange, the STEM ambassadors are hosting 3 California 4-H state ambassadors. Let's get to know them.
Hi, my name is Preston Galvan, and I'm here with
Michaela,
Laurelyn,
and Malia,
and y'all are?
California 4-H State Ambassadors.
For those that don't know, why are y'all here at Texas 4-H Congress?
Well, California 4-H and Texas 4-H have had a partnership for many years where we'd send some of our state ambassadors, either STEM ambassadors from Texas or state ambassadors from California, to each of our statewide events, being Congress or State Leadership Conference in California. And after a few years of remission of Californians not getting to go to Texas, now we're back and enjoying the fun here.
Awesome, thank you. What's one thing that stood out to you about Texas 4-H Congress?
well, ever since I got here, I've been seeing the dedication and the knowledge that all the Texas 4-Hers have in relation to the government procedure, and I think that that's really admirable and really cool to see the whole process.
What's one part of Texas 4-H that you want to take back to California?
I would like to implement more civic engagement opportunities for youth in California by adding more workshops and opportunities at our state leadership conference hosted by the state ambassadors to get youth in our state more familiar with the legislative process.
Awesome, and thank y'all so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Next week, 3 Texas 4-H STEM ambassadors will be going to the California 4-H State Leadership Conference at UC Davis.
Some of the hot topic bills from the Senate yesterday are Bill 612, which is over minor gender determination, and 627 on welfare recipient drug screening, both of which the governor commented on in his opening address.
Governor Wunderlich showed his support for both, but the welfare recipients drug screening bill failed before it got to his desk.
Let's go to our interview teams for more excitement from the House and Senate floors.
Hi, my name is Preston Galvan, and I'm here with the sponsor of Bill 258, Wes Shaw. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So essentially what House Bill 258 does, it mandates a state firefighting aerial fleet that will assist in the prevention of wildfires in the Texas Panhandle and other rural areas that are prone to drought-like conditions getting out of hand. So it'll assist volunteer fire departments and prevent from large economic losses.
Awesome. And we heard that that bill got passed in the Senate and the House, so it's going straight to the governor's desk. How do you feel about that?
Well, first off, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the author of the bill, Senator Skaggs. She did an excellent job working on the bill and putting in the idea into motion. So just a big shout out to her, and I'm really excited to get it on the governor's desk. It was one of his priorities.
So I know you're a member of the House. Were there any bills that you're happy that passed or failed today?
Well, I'm really excited that numerous pieces of legislation passed today, specifically the Dr. Pepper bill, Speaker Mao's piece of legislation. I got to speak on that one, drove forth a really passionate debate in order for that piece of legislation to pass, and also House bill that included securing the southern border and protecting our citizens from the dangers of human trafficking and drug trafficking.
Awesome, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm here with Jeremy Burt, the author of the Obstructing Roadways Act. Tell me, what inspired you to write this bill? The inspiration was actually given to me by my father, who has a job that allows him to travel a lot, but making travel difficult for him was the protesters standing in the roads. They were blocking traffic all the way up through Dallas, through Austin and Houston. It made it very difficult for it to be efficient through traffic.
Thank you. What were you thinking as debate was happening in the Congress room?
I was thinking that most of the rural counties would not understand, so I had to give them an opportunity to make it personal. I did the research, I found a good story on first responders that couldn't make it to a scene on time and led to casualties.
And what argument do you think was that final nail in the coffin moment that won you that vote?
I think it was when I was able to pull them in because it did not infringe upon the First Amendment right to freedom of speech, but I was able to pull them in with that actually gives them more freedom if we pass this bill.
Thank you.
That should be good.
Yeah, good.
Was the audio?
Hi, my name is Preston Galvan, and I'm here with
Ayla Doran from Schleicher County District 7.
Ayla. Were there any bills that you spoke on today?
Today I spoke on the Securing the Border and Immigration Reform Bill.
And what was your stance on that bill?
I stood with the bill purely because I think that if we leave that border open, we're opening not only Texas, but the entire nation to all the issues. So some points that got brought up were things such as like these families are leaving highly aggressive, violent situations. But my points were, are we not welcoming those same aggressions and violence into our country by just allowing them to immigrate? There is a right way to do it. And they brought up a lot of families. They said they wouldn't be there. Believe it or not, I wouldn't be here either if it weren't for immigration. But my grandparents understood how to do it the legal way.
Awesome. What was an interesting point that the opposing side brought up?
A lot of the drug issue was purely in-house, and I do agree with that. A lot of our drug issue is purely in-house, and some of it is imported, but I think that is a key issue that we need to work on in-house rather than focusing on outside.
Awesome, and thank you so much for your time.
I'm here with Aiden Hunter, and is it correct that the first bill that you spoke positively of was the obstructing roadways bill?
Yes, so this week in our Senate chamber yesterday and today, I've spoken on negative on many different bills. But for this bill about the obstructing roadways, I mean, the language, it was just perfect. It was the right timing. I like the concept, and most importantly, we need to protect Texans all over, but especially in those rural areas where these protests have gotten out of hand.
So the language was really what drove home the bill for you, made you want to support it publicly?
Correct. So with a lot of the bills that I've been seeing before, a lot of the things have been getting me and several of my other senators in our chamber is the funding and where it's coming from. That's been our one big issue because we want to make sure that Texas is financially responsible, whatever we do. But there was also another aspect to it, and it was sovereignty over these issues. Are these issues that Texas can actually tackle on their own, or would this be an overstep by Texas into what the federal bounds are of what they can do? And the circumstances for this bill were just right.
Okay, and our last question, just to make it a little more fun, is sweet tea or Dr. Pepper?
Okay, so we've been hearing about this bill all week long. Here's the thing. When our leadership team met for dinner, I had 9 Dr. Peppers. I'm not going to lie with y'all here. But what I also do think is that sweet tea is still the better option for government. The reason I say that is because we are not supporting a company by supporting sweet tea. We are supporting an industry, one that helps Texans every single day. And with that, though,
thank you.
We shall end.
I'm Aaliyah, and I'm here with
Isaiah Tell out of Tarrant County.
Amazing. Your first question is, did you speak on any bills today?
I spoke on a few, but the most notable one was the death penalty prohibition.
Very interesting. And what was your stance on that bill?
I, for one, was in negation due to the fact that a lot of the points made by the opposing side all came into the sides of the fact that the family themselves truly don't get closure. And also, it's really a big risk and a lot of public uproar to let people like that run around, especially because they had a lot of talk about reformation and everything. And if someone's going to go out and do a deed purposely, and of course the death penalty got killed at least 2 or more people. If you're killing 2 or more people, it's almost completely on purpose, and you knew what you were doing. And I don't believe that if we keep giving people like that chances and chances again, that will really destroy America as a whole and will ruin our morals.
Were there any points made by the opposing side that you found interesting?
One I seen that was like really interesting to me was one of the girls was talking about how there's like more closure if the people like have to sit there and think about what they did. And to me, that just felt super arguable. So as soon as she said that and they asked for a final closer, I was like, okay, we're gonna go hit this out the park. And I stood up and just went and did it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Spoke on the Secure Borders and Immigration Reform Bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's the bill I spoke on.
And you have personal experience, am I right?
Yes, sir. So being from District 12, the immigration and illegal bailouts can cause a lot of problems. So I live in a small town called Rivetta. It's around 500 population, and it is right after a major border checkpoint on Highway 77. Now, the problem with this is whenever an illegal gets caught at that checkpoint, they'll try and, well, drive as fast as they can to the nearest place they can hide, which is a town or place with a lot of alleyways, a lot of places they can hide out in. So, being in Rivetta, that town, they have hidden in my feed barn before. I opened the door to grab some feed for my birds. I have lambs, birds, all that. And there were just 3 of them in there. I didn't know what to do. I closed the door. Thank God they didn't have a weapon, because if they did, I would not be here to give this interview today.
And do you think that these experiences shaped your unique view on the bill?
Yes, solely because some of the people speaking on the bill weren't exactly, didn't exactly have personal experience with this bill, because not everyone fully understands how it affects us. I've also been at a livestock ambassador short course. It was in Kingsville, and it got brought down to a ranch in the valley, in which an illegal came in and cut the power to the ranch while the to-be livestock ambassadors were there. So I feel like all these experiences really helped me become more knowledgeable in the issues with illegal immigration.
Okay, and then could you tell me your opinion on the Undocumented Children in Public Schools Act?
Okay. Well, I do have the opposite opinion. I feel like undocumented children should be allowed into our school system for sort of the same reason. So, yes, while immigrants can be harmful at times, no matter what, we can enforce the border as much as we can, but there will be some that leak in. It's an inevitability. It's just going to happen. While it's a shame that it does, that we don't want it to, it's going to happen. And we want to make sure those immigrants are the best people possible. So I feel like the best way to make at least some gain from having illegal immigrants get in is to provide them an education.
Thank you. I'm here with Governor Wunderlich, and I have a question for you. Is it true that you vetoed the Dr. Pepper bill?
Yes, sir, that is true.
Might I ask what was going through your head when you made that decision?
Yes, sir. So Dr. Pepper cannot be the state drink of Texas. One reason being we already do have a confirmed state drink of Texas, and the second being I know that I'm a big supporter of Dr. Pepper, but I've always been an even bigger supporter of sweet tea. I can tell you this, sweet tea is not found in the northern states. Sweet tea is a southern thing, and Texas has the opportunity to be the first state to claim sweet tea, specifically Texas sweet tea, as its own.
Might I ask why you brought this up at so many points, if only to veto it?
Yes, sir. So throughout the week, something that I've noticed is a lot of places here in Austin had Dr. Pepper. They didn't really have sweet tea. The hotel that we're staying at, the Downright Hotel, it's been a great hotel. They didn't have sweet tea. So therefore, I've been drinking Dr. Pepper, and it seems as though I was making a publicity push in favor of Dr. Pepper. That was not the case. I've always been a sweet tea person.
Thank you. Is there any other special interest that you may have either brought to the public eye or thought about privately that you are wanting us to know about?
At this point, I can't say that there is anything, but I will definitely keep y'all in the loop. I'm going to give y'all a public announcement right now. Please do not override my veto on the Dr. Pepper bill. This is the opportunity for us to have our own thing, something that is special to Texas, and it's something that is a southern entity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Governor Wunderlich closed Congress with his wrap-up address to a joint session. We were able to catch him afterward for a few comments.
I'm back here with Governor Wunderlich after we just finished up our closing session. So Governor Wunderlich, I have a couple questions for you. Starting off, is there anything that really went well this session?
Yes, ma'am. So something that I thought went really well was I mentioned in our closing session and in my address to the representatives and Senate members, I think that we did a really good job of passing the agenda that was really good for the state of Texas and Texans as a whole. We addressed the 3 topics that I thought were of really big importance. We addressed education. The vouchers did not pass, which was something I was really passionate about, and we did pass the human trafficking bill, and I think that's a really good big step in the right direction to address this really big hot topic and issue in the state of Texas. In agriculture, specifically on the House side, we did a really good job, and I think in some cases, there were just places where we were off, but I think as a whole, we were able to sign 12 bills, or we were able to pass 12 bills on both sides, and I think that was really cool.
Awesome, I'm glad we had a productive session. So was there anything that you really wanted to see that did not get done?
Other things that I mentioned at the beginning, there's 2 that stick out to me. One of them being the House Bill 327, which was Senate Bill 627, and that talked about drug testing of people that are on welfare, and we talked about that in both my governor's reception and in the opening session. And another one would be the renewable energy farming and using the land under and surrounding that. So those are the 2 topics that I think were not addressed, but we had steps in the right direction.
Awesome, thank you so much. Final question for you, are there any final remarks you would like to make to Texas 4-H Congress?
Yeah, so I'm going to start by saying I do support Dr. Pepper, but sweet tea will always be better. It's a Texan staple.
It's certainly been an eventful couple of days.
Hey Liliana, what do ducks and congressmen have in common?
I don't know. What?
They both have bills.
That's a real knee slapper.
Thank you all for coming, and we hope you've had a rewarding and educational experience. We'll see you in 2 years.